Station this morning. Rescuers are searching through the mangled coaches with reports saying a number of people are trapped in them. A train was traveling from Gorakhpur town to Hisar in Haryana state. India's railway network operates 9,000 passenger trains and carries some 18 million passengers on a daily basis. The police in South Korea have intensified their search for the owner of the ferry company whose vessel, the Seawall, sank last month. Prosecutors are offering a reward of $500,000 for information leading to the arrest of Woo Byung-eun. Police also arrested 4 members of a religious sect led by the businessman on suspicion of helping the fugitive. Mr. Yu faces allegations of tax evasion, embezzlement and negligence following the sinking of the ferry with the loss of some 300 lives. Police raided a compound of his sect, the Evangelical Baptist Church, last Wednesday, but found no trace of him there. He faces allegations of involvement in the overloading of the ferry and major adjustments to its structure that are thought to have contributed to the disaster on April 16th. Let's turn to Thailand now. Military leader has received royal endorsement at a ceremony in the capital, Bangkok, after taking part in a coup last week. General Prayuth Chan-o-cha was formally appointed to run the nation at the army headquarters. The 86-year-old monarch, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, said he did not attend the ceremony but gave his blessing for it to take place. Military seized power in the Southeast Asian nation last week, saying it plans to return stability to Thailand after months of unrest. A move followed 6 months of political deadlock as protesters tried to oust the government of Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. At least 28 people were killed, several hundred more injured over the course of the protests. Our colleague at the Voice of America, Steve Herman, is still in Bangkok, monitoring the situation in the country, and he sent in this report.
The Army Chief General Prayuth Chan-o-cha says he has received a royal command, a written document from the palace that now gives him the authority to head the government. This is critical because coups in the past that have not received the permission from the king to carry out their duties running the government have failed. Now, the king did not appear in person. That has sometimes happened in the past where there's been an audience. The king is not in the capital, but this document, in a sense, does give legitimacy in the eyes of a lot of people here for the army chief to now run the country. And General Prayuth did speak briefly to reporters. He only took about one question before he walked away from the podium, but he made a couple of very significant points. He was very explicit that if there are continuing anti-coup demonstrations, that soldiers will crack down. He said it's okay for the Thai media to report about these demonstrations, but they have to point out that they are illegal. 5 or more people are not supposed to be out in public together in any one spot at any one time. Curfew will remain in effect. The general also made a very explicit comment about those using social media, that if they're speaking out against the coup, inciting unrest, as he put it, if those sort of comments are seen on Facebook, those posting them face arrest. For Channels TV, I'm Steve Herman, VOA News in Bangkok.
Thanks a lot. Yes, Steve, we're still in Asia, where it's official now. The Narendra Modi is India's new Prime Minister. His inauguration was done this morning at a colorful ceremony attended by his counterpart from Pakistan. Nawaz Sharif joined other regional leaders at the inauguration in Delhi's presidential palace. It's the first time since the two countries won independence in 1947 that a prime minister from one state has attended such a ceremony in the other. The two leaders are expected to hold bilateral talks tomorrow. Mr. Modi led his BJP party to a landslide win in the recent election. BJP won the biggest victory by any party in India for 30 years, gaining a majority in parliament and trouncing the outgoing Congress party. Today's grand outdoor ceremony in front of the presidential palace was attended by the leaders of all 7 South Asian countries, as well as Mauritius. Well, we come back after the break in our season of elections. Elections going on in Egypt for a new president. Don't forget, General al-Sisi is running. Welcome back. We continue our tour around the world. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls says there has been a political earthquake in Europe. This is due to the fact that Eurosceptic and far-right parties have won major victories in elections to the European Parliament. The French National Front and the UK Independence Party both performed strongly, while the three big centrist blocs in Parliament all lost their seats. The outcome means a greater say for those who want to cut back the EU's powers or abolish it completely. But EU supporters will be pleased that election turnout was slightly higher. It was 43.1% according to provisional European Parliament figures. That will be the first time turnout had not fallen since the previous election, but would only be an improvement of just 0.1%.
Eurosceptic nationalists have made big gains in European Parliament elections. Critics of the EU have more than doubled their seats in what's been seen as a continent-wide backlash against austerity and unemployment. In France, the far-right anti-immigration, anti-Euro National Front came top for the first time in its 4-decade history. Party leader Marine Le Pen welcomed the outcome. The sovereign people have spoken loud and clear, as in all the great moments of its history, in alliance with all those who no longer believe in France and who think the French are no longer worthy of liberty or sovereignty. The sovereign people acclaim that they want to take back in their hands the reins of their destiny. In Britain, the anti-European Union UK Independence Party is also celebrating major gains. UKIP leader Nigel Farage says the European Union is paying for its mistakes.
You know, one of its historic errors was to expand too far to the east and to let in the former Soviet bloc countries, and to do that with free movement of people when the minimum wage in Britain is 9 times that of Romania, perhaps explains why there is depopulation going on.
And in Greece, the leftist anti-bailout opposition Syriza party is poised for victory. It's a message to the government after 4 years of EU-imposed austerity measures which have angered many. Overall, the anti-establishment far-right and hard-left parties have made big gains, their scores amplified by low turnout. Such groups will have about a quarter of the European Parliament seats. That's not likely to be enough to block EU legislation, but it will give them a much louder voice.
Well, also voting are Egyptians who are deciding a new president for the next 5 years. It's the second elections that have held 2 years in a row. A huge security operation has been mounted by police and the military amid fear of attacks by militants seeking to disrupt the polls. Former Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who deposed Islamist President Mohamed Morsi last year, is standing against left-wing candidate Hamid Sabahi. Mr. Sisi is forecast to win by a comfortable margin. Elections are being held across 2 days, with the official results expected to be announced on the 5th of June.
Former Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the man favored to win Egypt's presidential elections, cast his ballot in Cairo on Monday amidst heavy security. Army helicopters circled overhead as Sisi arrived at a polling station in Cairo's Heliopolis neighborhood. Sisi has been widely regarded as Egypt's de facto leader since he toppled Islamist President Mohamed Morsi last July and cracked down on his Muslim Brotherhood in the bloodiest chapter of the country's modern peacetime history.
Today, Egyptians are coming out to write their history and to underline their future. The whole world is watching us, how Egyptians will make history and create the future today and tomorrow. I will not tell the people except that God will hopefully stand by Egypt and help us all. The future will be great, God willing.
Sisi's sole competitor is Hamdin Sabahi, a leftist politician who finished third in the 2012 election, which brought Morsi to power.
I'm very proud of the young people in my campaign. I think they are the real heroes of the campaign.
I do apologize, seem to be having problems with that report. But back here in Africa, the Ebola virus is still spreading rapidly. Sierra Leone's health ministry has confirmed the death of 4 people, including a health worker who suffered from the virus. They died in Calhoun district, which borders Guekedu and Guinea, where the outbreak started in March and has killed more than 145 people. There's still no cure or vaccine for Ebola, one of the world's deadliest viruses, but people have a better chance of surviving if it is identified early and they get supportive medical care. Ebola can kill up to 90% of those infected and is passed on through contact with fluids of infected people or animals such as urine, sweat and blood. Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius has arrived at a psychiatric hospital in South Africa's capital, Pretoria, his first day in the start of his mental evaluation. A judge at his murder trial ordered that his mental state be assessed by health experts as an outpatient for up to 30 days. This comes after defense witness said the double amputee was suffering from generalized anxiety disorder, GAD for short. Mr. Pistorius denies, however, intentionally killing his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. He says he accidentally shot her through the toilet door on Valentine's Day last year in a state of panic, making the 29-year-old model and law graduate mistaking her for an intruder. But let's understand what the generalized anxiety disorder is and which the doctors say Oscar Pistorius is suffering from. It is a medically recognized long-term condition. People with GAD feel anxious on most days and they worry about a wide range of issues. It's thought to affect around 1 in 25 people at some point in their lives and is more common in women than in men. The symptoms vary, making it tricky to diagnose. People with GAD may have difficulty concentrating. They'll feel tired, they'll be irritable, they'll feel sick, dizzy or sweaty, and also experience aches and pains. GAD tends to run in families. It can follow stressful events. It may be linked to chemical imbalances in the brain. As for treatment, the main treatment includes using talking therapies, relaxation techniques, and of course, taking some medication. We're drawing to the end of the program, but we will not leave without telling you this. A new world record has been set in Hungary for the world's tallest Lego tower, which stands at a grand height of 34.76 meters. Construction of the Lego tower began on Wednesday with several school children taking part, helped by official Danish Lego constructors. The aim was to break the current US record of 34.43 meters.
Hungary has managed to set a new world record by building the highest Lego tower on Sunday afternoon in front of St. Stephen's Basilica in Budapest. Officials from the Guinness Book of World Record Company arrived in Budapest on Saturday to verify the record. The mayor of the city's 5th district said that they hope the record will promote Budapest to the world before it broke the height of 36 meters to place the last piece. This is a modern obelisk behind us, and it shows that with lots of minute engineering knowledge and diligence, we can call attention to the fact that this is one of the most beautiful squares of Budapest, and I hope we will be able to achieve a new world record. And if it happens, we will be able to draw even more tourists to Budapest. After Rogan placed the last piece on top of the tower, the official measurements showed that indeed a new record was set.
Hungary, Lego Store Budapest achieved a new Guinness World Record because it's 34.76. So yes.
Maybe not just check it. Will be okay. Hope so. Okay. Now it's Monday. Rendben és megnézzük, hogy sikerült. De lehetünk büszkék, az új világrekordunkra.
That's your world today. Thanks for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Stay tuned though. Sports News is up next.